Good morning on this rainy MAGA Hat Monday. Today we're going to be talking about the outgoing president and his acts of sabotage on the incoming administration.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
As you're aware, a WhatsApp text message was sent to Henry Zhao, a senior Chinese communist, from Hunter Biden that reads as follows. I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand. And now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Now, Democrats and those in the media trying to defend the White House repeatedly say there is no direct evidence of Joe Biden's involvement in his son's corruption. Well, this is a text that is direct evidence that is stating that it is his father that is going to retaliate.
Of course, virtually none of what Senator Cruz mentioned matters, essentially, at this point, because Joe Biden pardoned Hunter. Joe Biden, that senile old dog, piece of garbage of a fake communist regime style installed president. He pardons his own son the way kings would pardon princes, the way other absolute rulers would pardon their buddies at the pool hall. And there he is, just pardoning his son, who, may I remind you, smokes crack naked in the presence of children. Now let's see, what other little goodies, what other little going away presents did Uncle Joe leave for Uncle Donnie? Let's not forget, a couple weeks ago, he sent long-range missiles to Ukraine for them to use on Russia. He encouraged Zelensky to have his army launch these long-range missiles into Russian territory. Act of war, quite possibly a trigger of World War III. It could have been, but I think Putin is waiting for the alpha male, Donald Trump, to step in and set things straight and come in with a firm but fair hand that'll make everybody happy. Himself, Zelensky, Trump himself, and of course, we the American people. But the idea is that Biden's over there encouraging Zelensky to provoke a war while he sits there as a lame duck president. And you saw the cartoon I drew about that a long time ago. And yeah, so there's that. He pardoned his son. I mentioned that before, which, by the way, a blanket pardon dating back to 2014, which would include the text message Senator Cruz was reading off at that hearing. I'm sitting with my father, blah, blah, blah. And yes, that would also include the video evidence of him smoking crack naked in the presence of children. Sink that in. President of the United States has a son that smokes crack naked in the presence of children. Now, of course, when you get a presidential pardon that covers a certain period of time, within that period of time, you could be subpoenaed to discuss in a courtroom or at a congressional or senatorial hearing. And you can't say, due to my Fifth Amendment rights, I shall remain silent because this might incriminate me, because if they're referring within this time frame, that might work as not to incriminate you, but whatever you confess is all null and void with the pardon. It doesn't cover you protecting someone else's ass. So this could be a squeeze play to have Hunter Biden throw his buddies under the bus, because he has the immunity now in which he cannot be incriminated, but the people he mentions, if there were to be a hearing, can be. So that would be interesting if the majority Senate or majority House of Representatives of Republicans decide to call for hearings and bring in Hunter Biden and subpoena him to have him testify against people who are not pardoned. But Hunter wasn't the only one Joe pardoned. He pardoned a score of people. Pardons galore to a whole bunch of people, including Chinese nationalists, one of whom had a huge collection of kiddie porn. So you have Chinese nationalists, card-carrying members of the CCP, who are also child porn addicts. Let that sink in. People of that type of sleazy element who ought to be in jail for being what they are will not go to jail because of this presidential pardon Uncle Joey bestowed upon them. Tell me this man is not a sick son of a bitch, this outgoing president, leaving these crude going away presents for the incoming president, Donald Trump. Lest we forget, he's throwing money around that we can't spare anymore. Because of Joe Biden, the national debt's through the roof. Don't get me started on the prices of gas and food and housing. Don't get me started on how much of a strain there is further on this with the influx of people that don't belong here. And then on top of them straining the economy, many among these people are rapists and murderers, convicted in their homelands, and then they come here to rape and murder innocent people. Let's go through the three names again, and there's only three out of many: Laker Riley, Rachel Morin, Jocelyn Nungary. That's only three of many who have been victims of these newcomers that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris led into the country. And I say it again, their presence here also put a strain on the economy, giving us money we can't spare to go to Africa, but he sends billions to Africa anyway. You know who else he sends billions to? Iran. Remember Iran, right? That's the country that's been hating on us since 1979. We have people in governmental positions of power who aren't even born yet when Iran started their beef with us, just because Jimmy Carter invited the Shah over to the White House for tea and crumpets. Which I don't blame Jimmy Carter for that. I do blame him for his weak actions in response to the hostage taking that followed. But that's many, many years ago. And over the years, Iran has started these proxy wars after proxy wars while building a nuclear arsenal paid for not by Iran, not by other rogue nations that may be aligned with them, but by tax dollars from every hardworking American out there. Wow. And he's giving that taxpayer money to Iran by the billions so they can continue building their nuclear weapons program, so they can continue their proxy wars against our greatest ally of Israel through Hezbollah, through Hamas, through these other smaller terrorist organizations. And Joe Biden's funding it with our sweat. I don't know about you, but I don't want to work myself to death for a country that personally hates me. And this is what Joe Biden has left for Donald Trump. The idea is to screw things up so badly that it becomes difficult for Donald Trump to swim out of it, so that the voters can turn against him and vote for the opponent of whichever Republican steps forth to fill Donald Trump's shoes come 2028. They're trying to think long range here in screwing up a Donald Trump presidency. But Donald Trump is older and wiser than he was the first time around. He was advised to pick this one, and this one, people with experience, and they may have had the experience, but they did not have the loyalty to the America First agenda. And there's nothing wrong with Americans being America First. I would expect Italians to be at Italy first. I would expect Russians to be Russia first. I would expect Australians to be Australia first. UK first. You get the idea. You want the place where you hang your hat to be the best in the world. You want to strive for that and have good, friendly economic competition with other nations in the world and have a kick-ass military, not to go fight other countries and topple regimes that have no bearing on you or anything like that. Not to be a warmonger, not to be a war hawk like Nikki Haley and Liz Cheney and Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham. Notice those are 4 Republicans I mentioned, so this is a bipartisan issue of warmongering, because I could name a few Democrats who love war. Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, Anthony Blinken, Chuck Schumer, who loves Hamas. I mean, Chuck Schumer might as well put that black and white checkered thing around his neck and scream "Free Hamas." But this is what we're dealing with. The Democrats are no longer well-intended, poorly executed individuals. They are people who are out for the blood of America. These are people who want to destroy America from within, tear down a system that's been working for close to 250 years, just so they could erect a system that doesn't work, called communism. And they've had about 179, 180 examples over the past 100 years that didn't work. And some blue-haired idiot college student will scream out, "Yeah, but that's not real communism," or "That's not real socialism." So you had all these tries at it for the past 100 years, still couldn't get it right. And a system written close to 250 years ago by a bunch of guys in knickerbockers is still going strong, and only doesn't work when it's sabotaged by Bureau Democrats. These Democrats, these neo-libs, and even a few neocons among them. And so Joe Biden wants to make his legacy that of preserving the back pockets of war profiteers and embezzlers who have their hands deep in the pockets of the American taxpayer. That's the legacy he's trying to preserve. That's the legacy he wants to put out there. Oh my goodness. And you would think at this age, he would stop being evil and do some good, so that his final eternal resting place would not be chained to the lake of fire in all of hell. He's showing a blatant disrespect for good God Almighty and holy heaven above. That's not good. But like I said, Trump is older and wiser. No more of these neocons, no more of these war profiteers, no more of these No more of these generals that give themselves medals while they sit on a hill with binoculars. That's why they're so much against Hegseth as defense secretary. They are so much against Hegseth as defense secretary because he wasn't one of those silver spoon-fed generals with the binoculars on the hill. He was out there in the trenches, on the battlefields, Iraq, Afghanistan, doing the work in the name of freedom for the American people. Of course, the war, we come to find, was nothing about that, but the soldiers that go out to these places go out with the best intentions. And when he came out of the army, when he came out of his division, which I believe was the army, he had said that he was against this war, and even helped co-found an organization to help deal with veterans that not only have physical injuries from the war, but also have unseen injuries from the war, the PTSD and stuff like that. This is a man who loves America, loves our American troops, because he was an American troop himself. And, of course, the pundits of liberal media are going to go against that and try to tell you he's a woman-abusing, alcoholic, rapist, or something like that. But still sweep the story of Tara Reid under the rug. Still sweep the story of Ashley Biden under the rug. Conveniently say the stories of Jennifer Flowers, Paula Jones, and Monica Lewinsky are old now. Let's not talk about that anymore. But it's okay to slander an American patriot like Pete Hegseth. And let's not forget our head of ICE that's coming in, who is will be the new border czar, Tom Homan. You have Democratic governors and mayors that are already saying in advance that they're going to stop the agenda to save America from these brutal gangs. A couple of years ago, nobody heard who Tren de Agua was. Nobody knew, nobody cared, because it was overseas, totally different continent, had nothing to do with us. This was a gang formed on a train on the way to a Venezuelan jail. And they're in the States, taking over apartment complexes in Colorado, beating up cops in Times Square, kidnapping two 13-year-olds, raping one of them, and ganging up on sweet little innocent 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary in Texas, 2-on-1, raping and killing her. All Tren de Agua people. Let's not forget, we come to find in the trial of the animal that murdered Lake and Riley that he was a member of Tren de Agua. This is a gang that would not have any prominence whatsoever if not for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Tom Homan is on the same page as Donald Trump with wanting to get these people deported who are part of this ruthless gang. The mayor of Denver wants to stand in his way. And he's daring Tom Homan to stick him in jail. Well, you know what? Don't threaten a man like Tom Homan with a good time. You're going to jail if you stand in his way, because the man's on a mission to make America safe again, and by God, I believe he will. And we could get into other things. How about the upgrade we're going to get on Secretary of Homeland Security? I think Kristi Noem is a great improvement over that bull-headed bastard Alejandro Mayorkas. Another one who should be in jail. You're going to see, I predict you're going to see a presidential pardon on Mayorkas as well. And if that happens, he ought to be hauled in for congressional and senatorial hearings and forced to name names of people that have not been pardoned. Because people need to go to jail for what's been happening at our border during the Biden and Harris administration. And we need to go back to being one nation under God again. With liberty, justice for all, and Republicans not exempt from that liberty and justice. This concludes this episode of the MC Too Tall Show. Respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, follow and share my content, stay strong, keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. You be good now.